Thank you, friends. Much love and greetings to you all. I hope you've all been enjoying the start of summer. The longest day of the year just graced our presence, otherwise known, of course, as the summer solstice. And because so many of you like that season-changing ritual we did, I thought we could partake of it again. It's a great opportunity to take the time to honor the movement of the earth, the stars, the universal flow of love, of energy. In the past, we've talked about the odd and very poorly explained 4 New Years. And I suggested the solstices and equinoxes were actually those key 4 dates. And we talked about what they actually mean. And as a brief reminder, they can be viewed as being harbingers of the seasons. Spring is about the triumph of life as life comes back. Summer is about loss and abundance. It's a very interesting one. Autumn is about the link between earth and heaven. And winter, of course, is the search for light. Now, people really liked when we observed this together during the winter solstice and spring equinox. So let us now celebrate together the summer solstice. And this is a little observation you can add to your own spiritual practices. Just another of your ways to honor the earth. Now, the summer solstice is important in many ancient cultures. And some of the biblical highlights include, well, the book of Jubilees tells us that the summer solstice is the day the mouths of the great abyss are closed during the flood to stop the waters from pouring onto the earth. And it's the summer solstice which is the day that God exiles Adam and Eve from Eden. And it's the day the animals lose their power of speech, although my dogs sure talk to me a lot. Now, in the Seder Olam, which was a rabbinic book about religious chronology, we learned that it is the day that the sun stood still so that Joshua's warriors could win the battle of Gibeon. And we also learned in Genesis Rabbah that on the summer solstice no creature has a shadow. It's also the day Moses strikes a rock in anger while seeking water for the people, and God tells Moses he will never enter the land of Israel as a result of his actions, although it was really a result of something else which may have a little to do with one of today's topics. And of course, in Jewish tradition, the summer solstice carries with it themes of closure, the mouth of the deep, the Garden of Eden, exile, Adam and Eve, Moses, and loss, animals' loss of speech, yet also the benevolence of nature and the divine, the appearance of water from the rock, the saving of small animals, and of course, the sun standing still. We meditate on grief, yet also on the world's abundance. Summer solstice is a day of paradox. Maximum light, but also it begins to turn towards darkness again. So let us all join together in a prayer for marking the changes in seasons. Havdalatha Tekufa. Now this blessing can be recited over a cup of wine on the day of the equinox or solstice, or perhaps you prefer to say this prayer along with a blessing over a scent related to the season. We mentioned them too. For example, flowers for spring, fruit for summer, leaves for fall, pine boughs for winter. And as I said last time, it is based on several existing texts. It's based on the Havdalah ceremony that divides Sabbath from the weekday. There's a blessing over equinoxes and solstices that's found in the Babylonian Talmud in Berachot 59b. It's composed partly of the traditional evening prayer marking the transition between day and night, and it also encompasses the Torah text in which God promises Noah that seasons will continue as long as the earth endures. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, who guides the world, creator of the fruit of the vine. Blessed are you, great Spirit of God, who embodies the world, who creates fragrant plants and fragrant trees. Blessed are you, Lord our God, who guides the world, who makes creation, whose wisdom changes the times and turns the seasons. As long as the days of the earth endure, planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. Blessed are you, divine presence, who blesses the years. And of course, my friends, we have an intention for the seasonal transitions, and that's the Kavanot L'Tekufot. For the summer solstice, a day is coming that burns like a furnace. I will shine upon you who revere the name of the Infinite, the Son of Righteousness, with healing in her wings. Now that's from Malachi 3:19. And someone asked me to read more and teach a little from the other books of the Tanakh. And Malachi is the last book of the Nevi'im in the Tanakh, the book of the prophets. And while it's attributed to a prophet named Malachi, the word, of course, means my messenger and is the name for angel. And so this is a message from God to us. Have an awesome change in seasons, my friends. Now, this, for this week, is a very interesting parsha. The journey is about to begin. The first post-Egypt Passover celebrated. Two mystical, magical silver trumpets are made, and they are to announce the new moon, the Rosh Chodesh, which we celebrate and will bring to our internet friends in the near future. They're used to announce the march forward, to announce the Jubilee. The Levites are now going to be ensconced as the Temple Praetorian Guard, and the daily miracle of the glory of the Lord, the fire and the cloud, will begin, as will the mumbling and grumbling of the rabble. And we see that the Spirit of God is not a personal property. It is freely given by God to whoever God chooses. What a fabulous list of things to talk about. And I will give some highlights for them, but instead what I really want you to focus on is something else. We will see one of the greatest of human foibles arise. It can be so small, but have such devastating effects. It can be seemingly inconsequential, but wreak untold havoc. I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry that I made you cry. I didn't want to hurt you. I'm just a jealous guy. Jealousy, my friends, beware. It is a killer, and it will play a role throughout the rest of the Torah. Now, the parsha opens with the great menorah, the seven-branch candlestick that adorned the tabernacle and the temple, the carving of which, along with the spoils of Jerusalem, can be seen on the Arch of Titus in Rome, depicting the sacking of Jerusalem, and I hope you've all had a chance to see it. And, of course, the menorah has become the most common model of the Hanukkah that we light during the Festival of Lights, and people often call the Hanukkah a menorah, but it is not a menorah, it's a Hanukkah. And Moses brings forth the tribe of the Levites so the people may lay their hands on them and dedicate them to God as the priests do to any and all sacrificial animals. Now, it would have been an extremely powerful moment. The laying on of hands is seen as a blessing and a transference of energy, of power, as Moses does to Joshua, his successor, and has been done in every ordination ceremony since. I remember mine and the power that that moment had. Now we witness, and perhaps if the energy as you read it is strong, partake in the first post-Exodus Passover. And friends, there is a narrative symmetry in the restatement of the festival. The first Passover was celebrated just before the Israelites set out on their journey from Egypt. Now they're about to move onward from the Sinai encampment in their wilderness journey. And again, the departure is marked by the Passover offering. What a fantastic model and symbol. And every year, as you prepare your Passover offering, you are leading your family on a journey to freedom. That is fantastic. And as the people get ready to begin the journey, they're reminded of a law we too often forget today. We are the same, all are one. Numbers 9:14, you shall have one law for the alien and for the citizen of the land. One law, one love. And we're given insight into how the pavilion and the tent of testimony worked. It had been called the tent of meeting. Now it's the tent of testimony. The cloud would cover it at night. Fire would appear. When the cloud lifted, the people would move, and when it settled, they would stay until it lifts again. Whether it be for a day, a week, a month, or a year, the cloud movement was the determinator. Well, that sounds something like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, the Terminator. Numbers 9:15. And on the day the tabernacle was set up, the cloud covered the tabernacle of the tent of the covenant, and in the evening it would be over the tabernacle like a semblance of fire until morning. Thus it would be perpetually. The cloud would cover it, and a semblance of fire at night. And as the cloud lifted from the tent, then the Israelites would journey onward, and in the place where the cloud would abide, there would the Israelites camp. Now you have to wonder what the people really thought. Maybe this generation was doomed. Not just because of their slave mentality, not just because of their mumbling and grumbling, not just because they feared and lived in fear, but because they could not yet get to the concept of no symbol for God. Is that why they always complained to Moses and begged Moses? Did the cloud and fire ultimately become the symbol for the wilderness generation? The next generation would have a different understanding of God than the wilderness one. Numbers 10:11. And it was in the second year, in the second month, on the 20th of the month, that the cloud was lifted from over the tabernacle of the testimony, and the children of Israel set out on their travels from the wilderness of Sinai. And the cloud tented in the wilderness of Paran. It is moving day, folks. Numbers 11:1. And the people were like grumblers, bad in the Lord's ears, and God heard, and his anger flared. Well, this is just the first of many accounts of their complaining. And interestingly, it's the only one in which the reason for their dissatisfaction is not told. Now, the story's function is therefore not to point to any of the obstacles in the wilderness, but rather instead to indicate the people's state of mind: negative, volatile, unconfident. This is an incredible juxtaposed society. Daily miracles and evidence of God, but they fail to believe. They're fed and watered and free, but they long for the good times in Egypt as slaves. They understood the religiosity and symbols of their prior life, but now God and belief is in a new and different form of practice. Numbers 11:2. And the people cried out to Moses, and Moses prayed to God. See, the people do not pray to God. They turn instead to Moses. They are used to recognizable objects of reverence. The divine, invisible source is just still beyond their grasp. So maybe we also get a little insight into what Moses represents. A man whose name we never learn, whose true family lineage we never know, whose given name from the Egyptian means true son, and from the Hebrew means from water. As such, he represents every man. Moses therefore epitomizes humankind. It is precisely the wilderness generation, the generation that is closest to God, who hears God's voice and sees miracles daily, who are the most rebellious generation in the Bible. Humans and their Creator have an underlying basis of conflict, something that's got to be in the very nature of the divine human condition. So Moses represents all facets of man: fear, awe, companionship, anger, competition, reverence, love, and all are evident at various times in his relationship to God. Do not look at him just as a person, but as a symbol of the nature of man. And as such, he provides the central theme of this parsha as the object for which the lesson revolves around: the jealousy of Aaron and Miriam because of him. And maybe because of the prophesizing whirling dervishes, or maybe they're just an excuse. Friends, biblical prophecy is not fortune-telling. It's poetic inspiration. It's saying things like they'll beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. The nation won't lift a sword against the nation, and they won't learn war anymore. Biblical man could imagine that person being filled with the Spirit of God and saying that. Some think that biblical prophecy involved some sort of ecstatic state. Now that's possible, but it may be more of an inspired state. Be inspired, my friends. You all inspire me. When you are inspired, you too are prophetic. And Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses about the Cushite wife whom he had taken, because he had taken a Cushite wife. Numbers 12:1. Well, there we go. Friends, some have a hard time with this. Yes, Moses had more than one wife. This was not Zipporah, who some want to argue that this was really about Zipporah. Zipporah was a Midianite. This was a Cushite, most probably an Ethiopian, a culture Moses would have been more than familiar with from his Prince of Egypt days. And instead of them saying that they're upset because of this, they say, has God only just spoken through Moses? So they give a complaint having to do with Moses' wife that has nothing to do with Moses' wife. Like someone who's had a bad day and comes home and complains about dinner. Aaron and Miriam do not voice what is really bothering them. They redirect their annoyance at Moses himself. Aaron and Miriam have experienced prophecy, and they say, has God only just spoken through Moses? Hasn't he also spoken through us? God responds with a declaration about the nature of prophecy, saying that Moses' experience is different from all others. And he even says, mouth to mouth I shall speak through him. They're busy complaining, and their complaint is about Moses' wife. Their experience was just as valid. They're just as good. But they're jealous. And it reminds us of the 10th commandment, the coveting one. Because, friends, when we are jealous and we diminish our own worth, then that's really what we're doing. And what ends up happening is, when we're jealous, it's because we're really not minding our own business. And jealousy is very much about not minding our own business. It reminds me of a great Hank Williams song. If the wife and I are fussing, brother, that's alright. 'Cause me and that sweet woman got a license to fight. Why don't you mind your own business? Mind your own business. Mind your own business. 'Cause if you mind your business, then you won't be minding mine. Right? We all need to learn to mind our own business. They question Moses' position. Is he the only one close to God? Now, it's common for people to redirect anger, but it has risks in every case, especially when it occurs within a family. This episode dramatizes that danger. Miriam and Aaron bring God into what was a family dispute. This is a mistake. God appears and they suffer, and friends, in this case, the punishment truly fits the crime. The cloud covers Miriam, and she's left in that skin-blanched condition, mistranslated as leprosy. But she's devoid of any skin pigment. And this, my friends, is a powerful biblical statement regarding racism. Yes, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light. Continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do. Learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts and honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Send healing, goodwill, and love to all who need it. The time to celebrate your holiness is now. As always, bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light and peace and healing. Honor the people of your life. Happy solstice, everybody. Happy summer, everybody. We lose, we gain, we open, we close. We celebrate the cycles of life. We have all been here before, and we will be here again. Jealousy is truly one of those great karmic debts that we can correct and that we can avoid. A debt to the universe and a debt to ourselves. Remember, friends, Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, one of the most brilliant Jewish scholars of the past several centuries, summed up the idea of reincarnation in his book, The Way of God. A single soul can be reincarnated a number of times in different bodies, and in this manner it can rectify the damage done in previous incarnations. Similarly, it can also attain perfection that was not attained in its previous incarnations. We can fix our jealous moments. No man alive will come to you with another tale to tell, and you know that we shall meet again if your memory serves you well. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. It is in sight. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading your holiness. The destination is just over the horizon, and it is yours. Now, thank you all for joining me, for participating, for sharing your sacred time with me. I love you all, and I will see you all next time. Shabbat Shalom.